Hello everyone, and welcome to Crystal's Crochet Cubbyhole. And today is Tutorial Tuesday, and we're going to make a very interesting and nice stitch today that we're going to learn. It's called Waves and Furrows. Now I'm using this book, the New Crochet Stitch Dictionary. It's 440 patterns, textures, shells, baubles, lace, cables, chevrons, edgings, and granny squares, and more. And then it's by Neil Brass and Eveline Hetty-Burkart. And today we're doing stitch number 031 in the book, and it's on page 20. I got the book as a gift, but it did come off my Amazon wish list. So you can get the book on Amazon. Okay, so today I'm using this. I've used this cotton before for another washcloth, so I'm going to use it again and try to use up what I've got. And this is, I love this cotton. Sparkle. I love this cotton sparkle, and it's the color Aqua Sparkle, 3 ounces, 153 yards. It's 97% cotton, 3% metallic polyester. So that's the little sparkle in there that you see. Let's see if you can see that. It's hard to see on the camera, isn't it? But it's got a little bit of a sparkle in it. So that's the yarn we're using. You'll need a needle for sewing in your ends, a tape measure if you're wanting to measure for a certain size. You'll need a pair of scissors to cut your ends off when you're done. I'm using a 6mm crochet hook, and this hook is also one that came off of Amazon in a set, and it's real good. It's kind of flat. It's really comfortable in your hand. But let's get started. Sorry for shaking the camera. So to start the Waves and Furrows pattern, you do an odd stitch count plus a 2 beginning chain. So I am going to chain 31 to start. Do a slip knot and then chain 31 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 30, 31. So I've chained 31, and to start my next row I'm going to do a beginning chain of 2. 1, 2. So now for row 1 we're going to go to the 3rd chain from the hook and do a half double crochet. And to do a half double crochet again, just as a reminder, or for anyone new, you wrap your yarn, go through the chain, and it's the 3rd chain from the hook that we're going through to start. Wrap your yarn, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, wrap your yarn, and pull through all 3. That's a half double crochet. So now I'm going to continue all the way across my chain, and in every chain across for 31 chains, and you can count, so if you want to make sure your washcloth don't get wonky, you can count after your at the end, make sure you got 31 stitches across. But I do a half double crochet in every stitch across for the whole row, and I will meet you back near the end and we'll see what we got going on. Okay, I'm coming up on the end of my row. I have 2 more chains. So half double crochet in every stitch across. And then here's what we have so far. Okay, now to start our 2nd row, which is the beginning of our repeat rows. You're going to be repeating rows 2 and 3 for the remainder of the washcloth. So we're going to chain 2 and turn our work, and we will start row 2. And that's one reason I keep paper and pen by, so that I can make notes of what row I'm on, so that I don't get mixed up. And I would want, sorry, I can't even talk. We should end with the last row of the repeat, which is row 3. So for row 2, we're going to go into the 3rd chain from the hook. Now if you hold it sideways and look at the top of it, which is probably good to do to make sure you're getting in the right stitches, we chained 2 and turned our work. So there's our chain 2. So the third chain is our starting chain. So into that chain, we're going to do a half double crochet. Now in the next chain, we are going to do a slip knot. You insert your hook, pull the yarn through, pull the yarn through, and that's a slip knot. Then the next chain, our next stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet. Then we're going to do a slip knot in the next stitch. The next stitch is a half double crochet. The next stitch is a slip knot. Now I'm going to continue that all the way to toward the end, and when I get toward the end, I will come back and you can join me. So we're doing, I just did a slip knot. So we're doing a half double crochet, a slip knot, half double crochet, slip knot, all the way across till the end. And at the very end, you should end with a half double crochet. So continue to do your half double crochet, slip knot all the way across, and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, I just did a slip knot, so my next stitch will be a half double crochet in my next stitch. Then a slip knot in the next one. And then the last stitch, and it's kind of laying on its side there, you're going to do a half double crochet. Make sure you get under both loops of that stitch. Do a half double crochet, and that's the end of row 2. And there's what we have so far. Now for row 3 and the last row of our repeat, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. And this stitch is called waves and furrows. And see, you see the little waves. It's nice. I'm really liking it, how it looks. Okay. So really, you could take any of your basic stitches and do different combinations, and you could create your own stitch that is unique. But so for row 3, we are going to do a half double crochet in our first stitch. Now to find where our first stitch is at, we chain 2, so we're going to count down 1, 2, that's our chain. So the next stitch, the third chain from the hook, is the start of this row, starting chain or stitch. So I'm going to do a half double crochet in that stitch. Then I'm going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. And this one, guys, the stitches are wanting to lay on their side. So you're going to have to turn your work and look and make sure you're getting through the right loops. See these 2 loops right here? That's the side of your stitch where you did that half double in the row before. So you don't want to go through those 2. You want to turn it sideways, see the top of it, and you're going to go through those 2 loops. So we're going to do a half double crochet again, and we go through not these 2, but these on top right there. Do a half double crochet, and you just kind of turn your work, make sure it's up where you can see down on the top of it, and you're going to do a half double crochet all the way across this row until you get to the end. Half double crochet in every stitch across to the end of the row. And always make sure you're looking down and you're getting the right stitch. You're getting the whole stitch and not the side of it, because it's wanting to lay and bump up the way we're doing it. So half double crochet in the top of that stitch and make sure you get both loops. So I'm going to continue on. See, they're laying kind of sideways and everything, so you want to make sure you're getting the top and not the side. Okay, get the top of that stitch. So I'm going to continue on, and I'll meet you near the end. Okay, I'm coming close to the end, and if you notice, your single crochets from the row, or not your singles, your slip knot crochets, your slip stitch from the row before is kind of a smaller loop, a little bit tighter fit in there. So we're doing half double crochet in every stitch across. And remember, on that half double crochet from the row before, it almost looks like it's right there, but it's not. You got to flip it over and go make sure you get both loops from the top of your stitch. Don't get that one on the side. And do a half double crochet, and you do half double crochet all the way to the end of this row. And there's one more. It's kind of laying on its side. So there's what we got going on now. So that is the end of our repeat rows. Now we're going to start again, and again we're repeating row 2 and 3 for the length of our work. And we should always have whatever our starting chain was. That's the stitch count we should have. So mine was 31, so I should have 31 stitches across. And if you have to count each time, just to make sure that it don't go wonker on you, that is perfectly fine. Or if you wanted to somehow or other mark it some way with stitch markers or something. Ever how you do to keep track of how many stitches you've got in your row. You should have 31. If you did 31 like me, you should have 31 stitches every row until you're done. So now we're going to start our repeat, and I'll do the repeat rows with you one more time, and then we'll work on it a while, and then I'll come back toward the end and do the last two rows with you again to finish off. So to start the repeat round and start your repeat rows, row 2 is what we're going to repeat again. So we're going to chain 2. You always chain 2 each row and turn your work. For row 2, you're going to do a half double crochet in the very first stitch of the row, which we just did a chain 2, so don't put it in one of those chains or you'll get off and your washcloth won't be square. So the third chain from the hook, you're going to do a half double crochet, then you're going to do a slip stitch, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch, and a slip stitch in the next. And do that all the way across. Half double crochet, slip stitch, half double crochet, slip stitch. And you should end with a half double crochet as your last stitch. If you don't, then something's off somewhere in your count. Okay? So I will continue to do this row, and I'll meet you toward the end. Okay, I'm coming up on the end. I just did a slip stitch. So then I'm going to do a half double crochet, a slip stitch in the next, a half double crochet in the next, a slip in the next, slip stitch, and then the very last stitch, which is kind of laying on its side a little, I'm going to do a half double crochet, and that ends row 2 of the repeat rows. We're going to chain 2 and turn our work. Here's what we got going on so far. So on row 3 of our repeat rows, we're going to do a half double crochet in every stitch across. And remember, you need to look down from the top and get the right part of the stitch, the correct part of the stitch. So the third chain from your hook, if you have to do it that way, because the first 2 is our chain 2, this third chain is our first stitch of the round. We're going to do a half double crochet. Oops, about to lose my hook. Okay. Then again, if you turn it to where you make sure you're getting the right part of the stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch across. Remember, these kind of lay wonky a little bit where we did the half and then the slip stitch. So you turn it up so you can see the top and make sure you're getting the correct part of the stitch. And you're doing a half double crochet in every stitch across for the whole row 3. Repeat. So I'm going to continue on, and I'll meet you near the end of this row. Okay, I'm coming up on the end of my row. So I'm doing a half double crochet in every stitch across. And we're looking down, we're turning our work and looking down from the top to make sure we get every stitch and the correct part of the stitch. And those little slip stitches from the row before are a little bit tight sometimes. One more, and that is the end of round 3 and the final row of our repeat, which is we're repeating round 2 and 3. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work. Now we're going to continue on, and it's different on each side. Look, that's kind of lace, I guess, like furrows. You got your little dips, and then the other side is your waves. Isn't that cute? Okay, I'm going to do a few more rows, and then I'll come back and we'll look at what we've got going on and what it looks like, and then we'll finish it out, okay? So I will be back with you in just a minute. Okay, I've done a few more rows, and here's what we got going on so far. And so you can see the furrows and the ridges, I mean the waves. And then that's what the front looks like. And the back is just kind of a flat stitch, which is fine. It's beautiful too. But this side is the front, and it's got our waves and furrows. And you could even add a little border on this when we're done if you wanted to kind of straighten it up on the edges. That is just optional. Just do a single crochet all the way around. And one way to keep your washcloth from being wonky when you do a border, because there's, you know, it's easy down here because you got your 31 stitches, and you'll have your 31 stitches up here. The sides, if you'll just you just kind of keep the same amount on each side. So count how many single crochets you do on this side, and do the same amount on this side, and just kind of evenly space them out. And but do the same amount on each side, and that'll keep it from being kind of wonky. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going, and I'll meet you back at the end, and we'll see what our finished washcloth looks like. Okay. Oh, and let me tell you again, just a reminder, remember, we're doing a repeat of row 2 and 3. Row 2, you're starting with a half double crochet and ending with a half double crochet. So, but what you're going to do is your half double crochet, slip stitch, half double crochet, slip stitch, in every stitch across each stitch you do a half double crochet, then you do a slip stitch in the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, and on and on and on until you get to the end, and you end with a half double crochet. Row 3 is half double crochets all the way across, and then you'll start again row 2 and 3 until you get it the width you want or length you want. And you always chain 2 to start your new row. Chain 2 and turn. So I'll meet you back at the end, and we'll see what we got, okay? Okay, guys, here's what I've gotten so far. There's the one side, and let's see. Let me make sure I don't lose my loop here. And then there's the other side. So this is your waves and furrows. Oh, sorry about that noise. So I think I need to do one more set of repeat rows. So I need to do row 2 and 3 again one more time, and I'll be done with my washcloth. So I'll do the last repeat rows with you, and then we'll be done. Excuse me. So we're getting ready to do repeat row 2. Sorry, which I chained 2 and turned. So now I'm going to do a half double crochet in the first stitch of the row, which is the third chain from the hook. And remember, you need to turn your work so you can look down from the top. Sorry about that, guys. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch in the next one. Well, I'm going to have to change my position. I moved around in a... Okay, slip stitch in the next stitch. Then the next stitch is a half double crochet. Then a slip stitch in the next. Oh, whoops. See, I want to do a single. Then a half double crochet in the next stitch. A slip stitch in the next. A half double crochet in the next stitch. A slip stitch in the next stitch. Half double crochet. Slip stitch. And it helps me to say that out loud so I know what I'm on sometimes. So whatever helps you, that's what you need to do. Half double crochet. Oops. Slip stitch. Half double crochet. Slip stitch. Half double crochet. Slip stitch. And continue that to the end of the row, okay? Okay, I was just going to point something out. I just did a slip stitch. But like if you're doing this and you get sidetracked and somebody talked to you, and then you think, oh, what was the last stitch I did? Was it a half double crochet or a slip stitch? Well, your slip stitch looks like that. You got just one like loop right there on that near your hook. So if I do a half double crochet, then there's 3 loops right there. So I know that my last stitch was a half double crochet. And then you got your slip stitch, which is just 1. And then a half double, which is the 3. So that's how you tell that. So I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, I just did my last half double crochet. So on row 2 of the repeat rows, you start with a half double crochet and end with half double crochet. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work. Now this is the last row, repeat row, and it's also going to be our finishing row for this washcloth. So now all the way across for repeat row 3, I'm going to do a half double crochet in every stitch across all the way to the end. And remember, you need to make sure you're getting the correct part of your stitches. So you turn your work up to where you can see, and you make sure you go through that top part and through both loops, and make sure you're going through the correct loops. So it's in the top of it. You kind of have to turn sideways to look at it. So I'm going to finish this out and I'll beat you near the end. Okay, I've just did my last stitch of this row, my last half double crochet, and I'm done with my washcloth. So I'm going to like chain 1, cut my yarn, leaving plenty to weave in the ends, pull it through, and cinch it, so it's good and tight. Now see, like I said, it might be nice to do a border around this one, but there's our washcloth finished. Let's back up just a little. Right there's our finished washcloth. There's that side, and there's that side. This is the back side, and this is the front. So now let's fold it up. And see, it folds square, so you know you got it good and square. So there is our washcloth finished, our waves and furrows. That is a nice stitch. That would make a pretty stitch for a blanket. Maybe a baby blanket or something. But there's our stitch. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And I thank everyone for their kind words. I wanted to mention in the loss of Abby. She was a very special cat. I was going to say kitty, but she wasn't a kitty, I guess. She wasn't a baby. She was 2 years old. She just celebrated her 2-year birthday this past April. But she was hit by a car and killed yesterday. And so we are really heartbroken about that. And miss her. Having her for 2 years was, you get used to something, and it's kind of hard to, you got to go on without. But the Lord will help us, and she was a blessing. She was so sweet and sassy. But anyway, this is my tutorial video. Let me get back to it. But there is our washcloth for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will talk to you later in Crystal's Crochet Cubbyhole. Bye for now.